Wanted to give you a little bit more of an explanation for three big projects that you're going to have due in my class. The first one is going to be the midterm project. So when you click on week 1 here, it's right here. This is basically an early heads up about the midterm project. So I expand this. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a PowerPoint presentation that is going to trace the development of Western music from the Middle Ages to the Baroque period. You are going to include major historical and or cultural events outside of music. I want you to pick something that this has happened in the world just outside of music. Major works of art, not musical, and or literature of each time period, something that was very significant in that time period. 2 pieces of music, which means links, examples of 2 pieces of music for each time period. You are also going to give some information about composers, 2 composers per time period, and also important style features. So this is the rubric right here. I kind of break it down exactly what I'm looking for. I want it to be between about 20 and 30 slides. And so you need to have that number of slides, but title slides do not count. And all slides have to have information on them. And if it is an image, like for example, if you would like to give, for one of your artistic examples, a painting that was very big in that time period, make sure that you give a little description of the painting and not just put the painting and the title. Just kind of tell a little bit about it, who the painter was, and you know, what's significant about it. You're going to be graded on organization, creativity. Basically, I want you to treat this presentation as if you were teaching somebody. I want it to be very instructive, very easy to read, very interesting, basically. So historical events, you have to have at least 3, and they need to be briefly described. One mistake that a lot of people make is they list some events, but then they don't describe them. Just a brief description, and doesn't have to be long. The major works of art and or literature, again, I need 3 examples, briefly described. Musical examples, this would be 2 pieces from that particular time period, again, briefly described. If you're using any terms within your description, make sure that you define those terms if they are very specific musical terms. Information about at least 2 composers, 3 facts about them, the birthplace, what kind of music they were known for, maybe a crazy tidbit about them, because some of these composers were very interesting. Important style features per time period, like for the Middle Ages, you might just briefly describe Gregorian chant. In the Renaissance, you might talk about word painting, just something that was prominent in that particular time period, and then just briefly describe it. So what I've got here, this is actually an example of a final project that I thought basically met the requirements of what I'm looking for. So they did have title slides, but they did have the appropriate number of slides. So this one is a final project. So they talked about the classical period, they talked about the American Revolution, and then they talked about 2 other significant events. So there's a total of 3 significant events that happened in the classical period. And then arts and literature within the classical period. And notice they are briefly described. There's a picture and then a brief description of the picture. And then what this person did also, okay, so these are the 2 types or 2 stylistic features of classical music during that time period. And then the composers. And what this person did is they combined the composer with the example. So what I want for your musical example, I want there to be a link, and then in the description you need to actually describe briefly, nothing, you know, doesn't have to go into great detail, that particular example. So they had 2 composers, and what they did, like I said, is they combined the composer and then the example into one slide, which is totally fine. You can do that. And then it went on to the Romantic period, and then just kind of followed the same format. And then what I want you to do at the end of the slide, the end of the slideshow, is I want you to have a works cited slide where basically you just have your slides numbered and then you just give your sources. I do not need this to be in MLA format. I just need the website or wherever you got your source from. That's all I need. So that is that's an example of the final project, but the midterm project will be the same. So the midterm project is going to be due on the 18th. And then the final project is going to be due towards the end of the semester. I think I've got it due during finals time. So this is something you could be working on now. You can start this. As soon as we get through the Middle Ages, you can go ahead and start working on the midterm project. So I think that's about in week 4. You should have enough information under your belt to be able to get started. So just want to show this to you. I mentioned this in the other video, but I just want to make sure that you understand it. So what I've got here in week 4 is I said complete the Middle Ages section of your midterm project. There is nothing to turn in. All I'm trying to do is keep you on track so you can basically be done with the midterm project by the time it's due. So basically just trying to help you keep ahead of things. Okay, and then the other big assignment that is due later on in the semester, I give you in week 1, I give you the heads up, live performance critique. So this is what this looks like. You are going to attend a live performance or watch a video of a live performance. Can go either way. And then you are going to basically answer a bunch of questions about the performance. So I have this table here. The table basically is the rubric. So what I've attached to this assignment is, sorry about that. This is going to be like a blank table. So you're going to download or copy and paste this, and then you're just going to fill in everything that I'm asking about your performance. So this is how it looks like in the actual assignment. And so what I've done is whatever I'm asking for, if it's something that I feel like you need maybe a little bit more explanation like meter, I've attached a video for you to watch to kind of explain a little bit more what I mean. Major, minor keys, this one has 3 of them. Use of techniques, monophonic, polyphonic, or homophonic. This is one that people kind of have a lot of trouble with. So make sure you really watch that video and let me know if you have any questions about that. And then it's just basically kind of overall impressions. Were they together? Were they in tune? What was their stage presence like? You're just going to critique the performance. Now, this is going to be due on November 22nd, and you will be turning this in week 13. So, and I will send reminders. So week 13 looks like this. Those are your assignments, and one of the last things you're going to be doing is submitting your live performance critique in week 13. These have got to be turned in on time. I'm going to need time to grade them. And just also just wanted to make sure I clarify this. So in week 15, which is basically finals week kind of, you're going to have a one last quiz, and then the final project is going to be due December 6th. It has to be turned in by December 6th. I cannot take late assignments because I will have a lot to grade. My grades are going to be due very soon after that. So again, I give you little reminders throughout the semester. So if you really pay attention to those reminders and you do it a little bit at a time, you will be good to go. You'll be ready to turn it in. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know.